Which one we going?
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays. Like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is another episode of the Sports from the Football Plays Network, brought to you by Nate the Great, Breakthroughs, and Greg Hot Seat Down. How are the both of you doing?
I'm doing great, Nate.
Doing pretty good, Nate. How you doing, bud?
Oh, I'm excited. Before we get all into the fun stuff, we do have a little bit of housekeeping to do. Let's start off with Suzanne Paparazzi's jewelry.
Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us, from all of us here at the ASAP Network.
And now, Misty Meadows. I just want to remind everybody that if you want to win a t-shirt, all you have to do is like the show, comment the show, share the show, be engaged in the show. And at the end of the month, we tally all comments being said. Whoever has the most number of comments by the end of the month wins a free t-shirt. A free t-shirt. But say for a second you're listening through audio, you're driving, you can't exactly comment, which it's good not to text and drive, by the way. And you still want a t-shirt. All you have to do is just message one of us. Message me, message Greg, message Ray, message an analyst that may not be on the show, but is part of the ASAP network. And it costs $14.99 plus shipping and handling. The sizes go from small to 2XL. But if you want to wear a shirt that is bigger than 2XL, it does cost $1 or $2 extra, but that's no big deal. I mean, it depends on the size, but that's no big deal. And now, getting into the topics, we're actually going to cover a little bit of hockey first. It's getting to that point. We're going to go with Greg on this one. Greg, what are your predictions for the Stanley Cup? Who do you think will win? Who do you think will be the runner-up? And Toronto Maple Leafs, they're on a hot streak right now. Do you think they'll make it all the way?
Boy, Nate, on our hockey show, I've been singing the Toronto Maple Leafs praises all season long. So I'd look like a hypocrite if I backtracked on that now. Yeah, right now, they're still leading the league in points. They're playing very, very tough, hard hockey. I think that they're definitely the team to beat, if not one of the top teams to beat. So, yeah, I'm looking for the Toronto Maple Leafs to maybe make a push. Also, I'm thinking that the Golden Knights out of Las Vegas are going to make a serious push. I wish I could really get on the bandwagon with my Islanders. They were playing rock solid hockey, put 7 wins together, but now with a potential big time injury from our leading scorer, uh, goal scorer in Anders Lee. So I don't know exactly what to expect there because he was a very crucial part of that Islanders front line. So I don't know. I don't know if my Islanders are gonna make that push or not. But I definitely see the Maple Leafs and the Knights being in the mix for a Stanley Cup. So
We'll go with Ray. Then I have a question for the people that are watching the comments. People that are commenting, watching the show right now, leave in the comments. Ray, I'm gonna go with you. We haven't really heard your input much on the NHL. I want to know, who do you think's going to win it all? Who do you think will be the runner-up? And how far do you think the not Tampa Bay, Toronto, the Maple Leafs will be? How far do you think they will go?
Right now, you got like a couple, about 2 or 3 teams that are right now on a hot streak. You got the Carolina Hurricanes, who's won 8 straight. They're leading their division right now by half a game over the Tampa Bay Lightning. They actually have scored 41 points overall right now. The Islanders, who scored 42 right now on a 9-game winning streak. And then you got to look at Toronto. The Maple Leafs they have lost 2 games in a row, and they have scored 40 points. They're 19-9, and they're still leading their division by a game. It looks like because the Jets are 17-9, and the Maple Leafs are 19-9. Before the season started, I had the Carolina Hurricanes, who struggle last year, coming strong this year. All the changes made, I think they're an up and coming team. So I had them going in. I had them as one of my Final Four teams of the Stanley Cups. I also went back with the Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is good and stuff like that. So I had them winning over there. I had the Islanders up there, as well as my number 2 team in the Final Four. And then I had the Toronto Maple Leafs as the 3rd team in my Final Four. But my other Final Four, I had the Golden Knights. I mean, they've been playing solid. They won 2 games in a row. They're 18-6. They got a 2-game lead over the Wild in the Western Division. But for me, I think it's going to be the Golden Knights and the Carolina Hurricane in the finals, and the Hurricanes winning the Stanley Cup.
Now I do gotta ask. I'll give my answer real quick. I don't have much faith in the. In the regular season, I do have a lot of faith in the Toronto Maple Leafs. I do think they're going to do pretty good. Maybe clinch that number 1 seed in their division, North Division. But there's 3 things standing in their way of winning it. It's that they're only playing in their own. They're playing in their own division, and that's it. They haven't played any team from the Western Division, the Southern Division, and the Eastern Division. So it's really just, Central, not Southern, Central Division. So it's really just them playing in their own division. That's been one of the things. 2, kind of relates to 1. They're playing an easy North Division. You look at the West. You look at the West right now. If I had to go to the standings, they actually the points between the top 4 teams in the West, the Golden Knights, Wild, Avalanche, Blues, is really separating by 4 points. Sorry, yeah, 4 points. Golden Knights have 37 points. Wild have 35. Avalanche has 34, and the Blues have 33. That's tough division just to be in. But you look at the North, and there's four points just separating the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Winnipeg Jets. They're playing in a way easier division than the West. That's another thing standing in their way. And 3, it's really I'll consider it a curse, to be honest with you. If they go up and win and break the record for the most number of wins in the NHL history, or they come close, that's kind of risky. It's regular season. I mean, not a lot of people have done that. Only the 1974 Miami Dolphins, the only team to go undefeated, go all the way, and never lose a game, including Super Bowl. You look at the Patriots; they lost the Super Bowl. They went all undefeated and went all the way. Tampa Bay Lightning got eliminated in the first round, and they broke that record for hockey. So I don't think that they're going to make it. I haven't got to the winner yet, but the winner, I think Las Vegas. I think the Golden Knights are going to make it and win the whole thing. And I think the runner-up. I'm either going with the Islanders, New York Islanders, or the Boston Bruins.
I got a question though.
Okay.
The Canadian teams, you know how they got the Toronto in the NBA playing in somewhere in either in Tampa or Florida or something like that because they can't travel them to Canada. How does the Canadian hockey team doing it? Are they playing in different cities every night or what?
So they can't cross the border on a regular basis. That's really the thing.
Right.
So they're actually playing up in Canada, but they're not traveling into the U.S. until playoffs.
Okay. I just wanted to figure out how they were doing that.
Now, my question before we move on to the next topic, and this is for the people watching the show. There's 2 games going on right now, hockey games. One is in the second period. Golden Knights are currently leading 1-0. And the Flames are beating the Oilers right now 4-3 in the third. Which game, people watching this right now, please leave a comment. Which game would you want us to keep a live update on? So going into the next topic, we're going to be talking a little bit. Now, Greg, I'm going to go with your point on here on this. I'm just going to give a brief update. It's a college basketball March Madness tournament. The first 4, the people that were going to be playing on Thursday, Coppin State versus Grambling, region in southern Utah. Who do you think is going to win that one?
I think I picked Coppin State to win that one.
Ray?
Yeah, I got Coppin State winning that one also.
I got Coppin State, but the reality is, do you think they're going to go past Gonzaga?
No.
You're thinking about it.
Well, I think Gonzaga is going to take. I think they'll take that, but I don't think. I don't.
They're going to get past the first round for sure.
Yeah.
So the next game, Iowa versus UC Irving. We're going to go with Ray on this one first.
I got Iowa definitely. I got Iowa in my Final Four actually, so I got Iowa all the way for that game.
Ray?
I have Iowa because of the center. That center is good. He's the team. If he goes on a hot streak, they definitely gonna win.
Next game. Well, actually, I'm gonna go with Iowa on this one. I'm not really gonna go for a 16-1 or 15-2. That rarely happens. Next one is Dayton versus Montana.
Dayton.
So, gonna go with Greg on this one first. Who do you think is gonna win that match?
I think Dayton's going to win that one. I think that Dayton's pretty upset about what happened last year because they had a really good team that was starting to get well polished and looking like they could definitely make a run for the Final Four, and then the season got cut prematurely with COVID outbreak and all the restrictions. So I think that Dayton's definitely ready to make some noise, at least for a few rounds in this tournament. So.
I'll let you know who's in my Final Four. But I do have Dayton going over Montana. I'll let you know in the Western region who I have going in my Final Four. Missouri versus Belmont. I'm gonna go with Ray on this one first.
Missouri.
Okay.
But you can't sleep on Belmont though, because Belmont is one of those sleeper teams that can sneak up on you if you ain't got a good game going.
I thought that Belmont didn't get in.
They're 13th seed.
No, I didn't see him in there.
No, Missouri's playing Creighton. No, Missouri's playing Oklahoma.
Oh.
In the West.
Yeah, I think Belmont got.
Yeah, because Appalachian State is actually Norfolk State and Appalachian State is actually playing Gonzaga if whoever wins that game.
Oh. Okay, then I grabbed the wrong. I'm looking at the wrong bracket then.
Yeah.
Do you have your bracket up, Ray?
Yeah, I got it. We can start over. The first round game will be Norfolk State and Appalachian State. Who you got, Greg?
Most of my family is from the Appalachia region of the United States, so I'm going with Appalachia. Appalachia State.
All right, Nate, what you got?
I think I went for Northern State, but I'm gonna pull something up real quick.
Norfolk State.
So can you go on the next one and I'll go.
Yeah, I got Appalachian State beating Norfolk State. So you think Gonzaga is going to beat that play-in game team? Yeah. To go to the second round? So we all got Gonzaga going to the second round. All right.
Yeah.
All right. How about the Oklahoma-Missouri game? That's an 8 and 9 seed.
I got Missouri going.
You got Missouri beating Oklahoma?
Yeah, I do too.
I got Oklahoma taking that one. So whoever plays that got to play Gonzaga. So the 4 and is that 13 seed in the West is Virginia versus Ohio.
Again,
Virginia's struggling.
Virginia.
Yeah. To me, I think Virginia is struggling, but you also got to understand they're quarantining themselves because they had the COVID issue in the ACC tournament. So they've been so how will they be prepared for Ohio if they can't, from that COVID issue they had? So I took Virginia anyway because of the ACC power and their defense. Nate, who you got?
So you said, can you repeat the who yet?
Ohio and Virginia.
Oh, Ohio.
All right, the USC versus Wichita State, and let's go up to this one because this is another playing game. Wichita State versus Drake.
I went for Drake.
I went for Wichita State because of the head coach Marshall. He's a very good coach, and he got his team ready for the tournament time. So I have Wichita State.
I'm going with Drake to win that play-in game, and I've also got Drake to beat USC when they get there. in the first round.
I have Wichita State beating USC. Nate.
I don't think their UFC is going to beat. I mean, I don't think USC is going to. I don't think either one of these teams are going to beat UFC.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about Kansas versus Eastern Washington? This is the West bracket.
Kansas.
Kansas.
Well, I went with the upset here. I went with Eastern Washington for the upset.
Yeah, I think the
Okay.
Kansas Jayhawks. I think I have Kansas going like Elite Eight, Final Four.
But you got to understand, I think one of their star players is the one that actually got COVID, and he might not be with the team if he can't get help. If he can't get past, he has to pass 3 COVID tests in a row to become eligible to play. And if they can't, he's been quarantined from the team, away from the team. Nobody else on the team has got COVID, so he's been away from the team since the Big 12 tournament semifinal. So he's got to pass 3 tests here in the next 3 days to become eligible. So that's going to be a big issue here for Kansas if he can't become eligible to play.
I have Kansas over Virginia in my Elite Eight.
Okay. Well, I have Gonzaga going to the Final Four out of the West. So, Oregon versus VCU. This is an interesting contrast of the teams.
I went with Oregon.
I got Oregon too.
I took VCU. VCU is a tremendous upset team, and I think they're on a roll right now. And I think Oregon's coming in on a cold shooting streak right now. So I took that upset. This is the Iowa and Grand Canyon game.
Oh, Iowa.
Yeah. I have Iowa going up all the way up to the Elite Eight and Gonzaga beating them. All right, we're going into so who you got coming out of the West to your Final Four?
I got Iowa beating Gonzaga to get into the Final Four.
Okay. I got Gonzaga in the Final Four. You got who?
Kansas over Virginia.
No, okay. So we all got different people in the West. Okay. All right, let's work the East region. We gotta go to one of the playoff games here. And the playoff game is Mountain St. Mary's versus Texas Southern. Who you got, Greg?
I think I put in St. Mary's. I think it's who I went with on that one.
All right, Nate.
I went with Mount St. Mary's because if I remember correctly, outside of the half-court shot, I don't think they're very efficient on offense.
So you took Texas Southern?
No, I went for Mount State. I didn't go for Texas Southern because they're lack on offense.
All right. So that was a very interesting dynamic that I went through. So I actually closed my eyes on this one. I picked Texas Southern. So, all right. So you got Michigan beating the play-in teams?
Oh,
yes.
All right. Next one is LSU versus St. Bonaventures.
LSU.
We all agree with LSU on that one. How about Colorado versus Georgetown?
Colorado. I don't think it's going to be close.
Colorado, just for Nate's sake.
Oh, that's not my team. That's not my team.
I know, but we got to throw you some love, Nate.
I'm actually going with Georgetown to pull the upset. Georgetown's coming in on a high right now. They won the Big East championship. And if you don't know the story, Patrick Ewing got ID'd in his own stadium that has got a jersey hanging in because the security guard didn't know him. So that was a big issue over the weekend with that tournament. But I have Georgetown upsetting Colorado. This will be a very interesting one. Florida State versus UNC Greensboro.
Florida State.
Florida State.
I picked Florida State, but it's going to be a close game, and I think it's going to be a part of a 1-point game. UNC Greensboro's got a good team, but they're not as tall as Florida State. Florida State's got some good big guys. That's going to give UNC Greensboro a problem. But if UNC Greensboro hits their 3-pointers, then they give Florida State a problem. But Florida State's also a good defensive team, and they could probably wear them down because Florida State goes 11 deep. All right, BYU versus Michigan State. Oh, we got to go to the play-in game. The last play-in game is Michigan State versus UCLA.
I have this one going very close. I think this is going to be a 1 or 2 point difference. I went with MSU only because of the late stretch of their season. The UCLA went on a 4-game losing streak right now, and MSU pulled 3 upsets in this late stretch. So I'm going with MSU, but I feel like it's going to be very close.
Greg?
I'm going with Michigan State on that one.
I'm going with Michigan State because Michigan State's going to probably be mad because they're playing a play-in game.
Yeah.
All right, when they get into the brackets, BYU and Michigan State.
I'm throwing Nate a bone here. BYU.
This one's another close one. I mean, I have BYU, but I have BYU in overtime.
Okay. I was in the same boat with everybody. This is going to be a close game, but which team is mad at each? Which team is going to be mad at this point of the thing? I think Michigan State comes in madder. So I think Michigan State by 1 point in overtime.
I went by like 3 in overtime.
Yeah. All right. The next one is the Texas and Aberdeen Christian.
I don't think this is going to be close. Texas.
I said this will be an NBA score, 102-30. Texas wins. All right, the next hot team comes in is UConn versus the Maryland Terrapins.
UConn.
I got UConn also. How about Alabama versus Iona? We got Rick Pitino and Iona coming in for the first time.
Alabama's been a hot streak. I think they're going to make it all the way to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, Rick Pitino or no Rick Pitino, I think that Alabama's got it.
Okay. I got Alabama also. Now, the interesting part right here is the Alabama versus UConn game. We all picked UConn and we all picked Alabama. So now
I'm going with Alabama.
I'm actually going with UConn. Pull the upset in overtime by 1 point. Then the next one, well, we all got different ones. So who's your coming out of the East? Because we all got different ones coming up.
Texas.
Who you got?
I feel like Texas is going to get stopped by Alabama. I think they're going to beat us, but they're going to get stopped by Alabama.
So you got Alabama coming out of the East?
Yeah. No, Michigan.
You got Michigan coming out of the East?
Yeah.
I have Michigan coming out of the East beating UConn by 3. So we got Gonzaga. We got who you got? I got Gonzaga. We all got Michigan coming out of the East, right?
Yeah. Well, no.
I got Texas.
You got Texas coming out. Okay.
That's a shocker.
So you think Gonzaga is going to make it to the Final Four? Let's just mark that side of the bracket out of the way. Who you got going to the Final Four?
Final
on that side of the bracket.
4, I have Kansas versus Michigan.
I have Gonzaga versus Michigan. Who you got, Greg?
I got Iowa versus Texas.
Okay. So we all got different Final Fours just about. All right, we're going to work on the other side of the bracket. We're going to start with the South. Butler versus Hartford. Who do you got, Nate?
Baylor versus you said Butler. Baylor versus Hartford.
Yeah, Baylor versus Hartford.
Baylor. I had Baylor.
Oh, Baylor. There you go. Who you got?
I got Baylor.
You got Baylor also?
Yeah.
Nate?
Yeah.
Okay, we all got Baylor. This is going to be a very interesting game here. North Carolina versus Wisconsin.
I wanted to
Gotta
go
go with my Tar Heels.
I wanted to go with Wisconsin, but I went with North Carolina.
I went with the Tar Heels, but interesting about this game is Wisconsin's got the good 3-point shooters, and Carolina can't guard the 3-point line. That's the only dangers I got. But we got the tall guys inside, so we can handle all the offensive rebounds. So if they come with whoever missed shots and we put back a lot of rebounds, Carolina's going to take it. I got Carolina also advancing in that. The next one is Villanova versus Winthrop.
Villanova. Yeah.
All right, we got Villanova going there. I got Villanova also. This is another interesting one. Purdue versus North Texas.
Purdue.
Who you got, Greg?
Okay, who's the teams again, Ray?
Purdue and North Texas.
Oh, Purdue.
Yeah, we all got Purdue again. All right, so we are almost in the top half of that bracket. The very next game will be Texas Tech versus Utah State.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
I got Utah State upsetting Texas Tech. The next one is Arkansas versus Colgate.
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas. I can't pick a toothpaste school. The next one is Florida State versus Virginia Tech. I'm sorry, not Florida State. Florida versus Virginia Tech.
I feel like this is going to be a 10-point game.
For who?
I got Virginia Tech.
I got Virginia Tech because of the defense. The next one is Ohio State versus Oral Roberts.
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Ohio State. So that's this. We're going to go into the first round of the Midwest bracket. That'll be Illinois versus Drexel.
Illinois.
Illinois.
Illinois. Next one is a very interesting one. Loyola of Chicago versus Georgia Tech.
Loyola.
Loyola, Chicago.
I'm on ACC homer. I'm going to stay in the ACC. I'm going to go with Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech came off that great victory against Florida State in the ACC tournament. The next one after that will be Tennessee versus Oregon State.
Tennessee.
I'm going with Oregon State just because I'm from Oregon.
I'm going with Tennessee. All right, the next one is Oklahoma State versus Liberty.
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State.
This is kind of hard because I've seen Liberty play in person when they played UNF here in Jacksonville. Liberty is not a shabby team. They are a pretty good running gun team, but I think they're going to be outmanned. I went with Oklahoma State on that one. The next one is a very interesting tale of two tapes here. Will be the zone versus Syracuse zone versus the San Diego State.
San Diego State.
San Diego.
I'll go with San Diego State. I don't think Buddy Dayham is going to have a game to go up against that. The next one is West Virginia versus Morehead State.
West Virginia.
I've got ultimate upset alert here. Morehead State.
I like Morehead State. They got a good team. They got a good all-around team, good defensive team. But I think West Virginia is a little bit outmanned them a little bit. So I took West Virginia in that one. The next one is a very interesting one. Is Clemson versus Rutgers.
Clemson.
I took Rutgers. I don't think Clemson's been on a downward stream here in the last 3 or 4 weeks. All right, the next one will be the last one in this bracket will be the Houston versus Cleveland State.
Houston.
I got Houston.
I got Houston too. So we all got different ones. Who you got coming out of the Midwest?
I have Illinois.
All right, I had Illinois
I
too.
got. You guys know who I got. Loyola.
You think they're gonna upset all the way through?
I do.
Jeez.
I think they got the nuns on their side.
They're going to get stomped by Illinois. They're going to get stomped. 20 to 30 point game. Maybe.
Nate, I'm telling you right now, bud. I know you're young. If you got $50, call up somebody on the horn in Vegas and just let it ride on Loyola, buddy.
All right, we got to settle this top bracket in the South here. So we all got the first few together. So we got Baylor versus North Carolina. Who are you taking?
I hate to go against my Tar Heels, but I think that Baylor is just too tough this year.
Baylor.
I'm sticking with my Tar Heels. I don't care. All right, we had Villanova versus Purdue.
Villanova.
Purdue.
I'll take Villanova. And then we had Texas Tech versus Arkansas.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. All right, so now we got different ones in the South now.
Arkansas. I pulled it.
Huh?
Arkansas. I looked at the wrong thing.
All right, we all still got different. So who's your final four out of the South?
Out of the South, I have Baylor versus Illinois.
I got Baylor.
I got North Carolina versus Illinois. So now we got the final four set. Who's your winner? Out of the two, who's going to be in the final?
Baylor.
I got a Big 12 showdown. I got Texas versus Baylor, and Baylor with the win.
Greg?
72 to 65.
Who you got, Nate?
I have. So you're saying for the champion, or
who you got? Who you got winning the final four and then the championship?
Baylor versus Illinois. I have Baylor, and they're gonna go up against Michigan. Baylor's gonna win by 2 points. I went very high for a national champion, but it's not very high for the NBA. I went for 198.
I took North Carolina and Gonzaga in a rematch of the 2017 national championship, and Carolina winning by 5. Final score would be 85-80.
Dang. Okay, so now I'm going to take over the moderating ropes here, and we're going to be covering a little bit of NFL free agency. A lot of things happened today, especially with the New England Patriots. I mean, they signed Nelson Aguilar. They signed Jonnu Smith. They signed so many players. Ray, I think you said this before we got on. They signed 11 players today, if I'm correct.
Well, they signed Cam Newton the other day, and then signed 10 more today.
Okay, so 10, 9?
They made 10 total free agency moves in the last 2 days. They made 10 today and 1 yesterday in Cam Newton. So they went on a spring spree. They got Nelson Aguilar from the Las Vegas Raiders today. Let's see who else they get. They got Matt Judon, Jonah Smith. Yeah, let's see here. What else? Who else they get? They got Demary. I got it. I got it. They they got Nelson Aguilar. They picked up Terrell Williams, Henry Rugg the third, Jacoby Myers, Demary Bird, and then they re-picked up Julian Edelman.
So I just got an update about this posted about 38 minutes ago. Former Dolphins quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. There was a thing going around. Clarification here. There's a thing going around that said he was signing with the Saints. That's actually not true. Just confirmation. He's actually signing with the Washington football team.
That's
I like that. I like that because it does give veteran presence in the locker room. Now,
well,
if you were Washington, and we'll go with Greg on this one first. Would you start Tyler Heineke as the starter, or would you start Ryan Fitzpatrick as the starter?
Heineke's only got a few games under his belt as a starter. I think that he's definitely the kid with some decent talent and everything. But as we know, they don't call him Fitzmagic for nothing. So I'd probably put Fitzpatrick in there, see how he does. I think that he's got a little bit left in the tank. And, he's always been a really good a really great backup and a decent starter when he's been put in there. And it seems like almost every year that Fitzpatrick's been around, he starts the majority of the games for the teams that he plays for. Because even when he's a backup, the starter gets hurt and then he's in there, and then he might go to another team and then he's a backup, but then the starter gets hurt and he's in there. So he's got plenty of experience. He's a great leader. He's a fun guy to be around. I think that they could rally around him, and I don't think that they'd expect a miracle out of him. I mean, Washington has an excellent up-and-coming defense. I mean, they've got all the tools defensively to compete every night. So I think that putting Fitzpatrick in there to see what he can give them, I think that'd be probably their best option right now. And then maybe Heineke could learn a little bit from Fitzpatrick, and if Fitzpatrick's not cutting it later on down the road this season, then give Heineke a chance. But I think that Fitzpatrick would be who I would go with.
Now, Ray, when I said sign, would you start Tyler Heineke? You were shaking your head before I finished that last part. Can you explain a little bit on why?
I would start Fitzpatrick because this reminds me of the day of the Baltimore Ravens when they signed Trent Dilfer. Mm-hmm. All they wanted him to do was possess the ball, not turn the ball over, and that's what the Washington football team wants Fitzpatrick to do: is to come in, move the offense, don't turn the offense over, let the defense play to win the game. And I think that's the same formula that you're going to see the Washington football team use as the year that when they had Ray Lewis and the Baltimore Ravens did with Trent Dilfer at quarterback. I think Tyler Heineke is the long-term future. I think him watching Fitzpatrick this year, a full year, I hope the Washington football team understands if Fitzpatrick gets hot, don't take him out like the Miami Dolphins did, because you saw what happened to the Miami Dolphins. That season went down really quick. They should have left a hot hand in there with Fitzpatrick. But, Fitzpatrick's always going to be a gentleman. That's just his nature. He comes in, he does good, and then they pull him halfway through the season to get that, their franchise quarterback. Now, you got to understand to see what you got in Heineke. If he's going to be that long-term future, that's going to be something they're going to have to decide. And right now, I think Fitzpatrick's got the key to the car right now.
I mean, he's always been a journeyman, but when it went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I completely understand why. That's because he was on a hot streak for a while, and then he would lose quite a few games for a while. Then he went on a hot streak, and he went on lose for quite a few games. So he's really the definition of a non-consistent quarterback because he goes, he goes on waves, in very, very long and noticeable ways, but he goes on waves. So I understand why teams would go and make him a journeyman quarterback. To be honest with you, I think this was the right move because he is always a journeyman quarterback. I think maybe you start Ryan Fitzpatrick for 6 games, and then put Tyler Heineke in for the rest of the season. Would you agree with that?
It all depends on how Fitzpatrick is playing. If Fitzpatrick is playing out of his mind, would you trade? Why would you take him out halfway through the season? Because if you look at the Miami when he played for the Miami Dolphins, he was on such a hot streak. I mean, I think they were still undefeated, or they lost one game or something when they pulled him out and put Tagovailoa in, and and then he ended up losing 3 games in a row, and then he finished up the season with 6-3. But I mean, I think that what cost the Dolphins season was they had a hot hand. They took the hot hand out. Thought the rookie, was going to come in and steal that thunder because when he'd been watching Fitzpatrick. See, what Fitzpatrick is, if you get him on a hot streak, you need to let him run that hot streak until it runs out. I mean, because sometimes your team is in a good shape of going into the playoffs and going in to win. And what I'm talking about is Fitzpatrick really doesn't turn the ball over much. And, he does have a few games has interception prones and stuff like that. But I'm talking about he's a good game manager. He can manage the game, and that's what you need for the Washington football team because you got the defense, you got Young, and that defense, that core, that's the core of the Washington football team. That's the strength of their team. So you need an offense that can move the ball down the field, not turn the ball over, not get the other team's good field position on a turnover, and make the other team drive longer the field like the Baltimore Ravens did that year they won the Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer. This is the same type of style that the Washington football team should have deployed with Fitzpatrick. Let him be the game manager on offense. And if they ain't got it, you punt the ball away. You let your defense, grind it all out for you. And sometimes that defense could turn that team around, and then you got a short field for Fitzpatrick to work. So I mean, that's all you got to, and you got to look at. Sometimes Fitzpatrick has played on teams that didn't have good defense. He's going to a team now that's got a great defense, so now he could use his managerial skills to put that team in a good position where the defense cause these turnovers and have a short field to work. So he wouldn't have to work that long 85 to 95 yards or 75 yards down. If you get a good turnover and it'd be like, 40 yards, he can get you that touchdown. And I think that's the same way that, with the Ravens did with Trent Dilfer.
Now just keep you posted. Keep you posted. You said that they went on a hot streak. They actually kind of really didn't. I mean, it really wasn't until the Jacksonville game because they lost the first game against New England, 21-11. They lost against Buffalo Bills, 31-28. And then that's when they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, 31-13.
Yes, I know. I was at the game.
Oh, yeah. And then they had that really great game against San Fran. But Greg, we actually haven't heard much of your talks on this. Do you agree with Ray? Do you think that they should let him go on his hot streak all the way until he runs out?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Ray. The thing about sports, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, hockey, whatever sport, if you've got a player that's got the hot hand, you keep that player out there, okay? And you run that player until the player goes cold or is inconsistent. So yeah, if Fitzpatrick's playing well, yeah, you can't just go, well, we're going to give him 6 games and put a quote on it. Just like you can't go, well, we're going to give this pitcher so many innings and then that's it for the year. You can't do that with players. You got to kind of gauge your players by what you see out there when they're performing. So if Fitzpatrick is playing well and he's playing solid football and managing the game, and like Ray said, they got an excellent defense, and I think that they're kind of going to model their team a little bit, kind of like the Chicago Bears did in the 80s, kind of how the Ravens did. in the early 2000s, where they're going to be very defensive minded, but they'll also have, a top notch running back that can really grind it out for you, and then have some pretty decent deep threat playmakers at wide receiver, and then you can get away with, a quarterback like a Trent Dilfer or a Ryan Fitzpatrick that really they're not, Tom Brady or Joe Montana or anybody like that as far as level of play, but they can still get the ball down the field and count on their wide receivers to make some big plays. So, yeah, I wouldn't put any amount of games as a limit for Fitzpatrick. If he's playing well, keep him in there. If he's not, give Heineke a chance. But yeah, Fitzpatrick's managing the game well, and he's playing well. I just ride him until he's not getting it done anymore. So
Now I have a question for you. What does this mean for Miami? Go with Greg on this one first. Greg?
I thought you said right. Okay, so what it means for Miami still has Tua in there. I think that if Miami is going to stick with Tua and not really make a massive play for Deshaun Watson or another key quarterback out there, Miami is going to just use the draft and definitely try to build around Tua. I think that they want a little bit more consistent play out of Tua. I think that they like what they see in Tua at quarterback, but he wasn't necessarily lighting the game on fire either in his rookie campaigns. So I think that Miami, they've got quite a few picks in the first few rounds, and they're definitely going to have to build. But it's going to be up to them because I heard that at one point they were thinking about trading Tua to Houston in exchange for Watson and a whole bunch of other picks and future draft picks. But I haven't heard much news on that for a while, so they may be just sticking with Tua. So I think that losing Fitzpatrick is going to hurt because he was a great leader and everything, but I think that Miami's ready to hand it over to either Tua or make a run for someone out there and make a big splash in free agency, or even, I don't know, they may even go after another quarterback in the draft if they're not comfortable with Tua. So,
to be honest with you, I don't. I after what's seen today, which we'll that kind of leads us into the next team we're talking about here. I honestly see, after losing Ryan Fitzpatrick, I honestly see them being the favorites to get Watson. Originally, I thought it was going to be Denver being the favorites. I thought they were going to be, the team to get Watson, but I don't see that anymore. Now,
do you think that Watson will sit out the whole year if the Texans just decide to sit on him?
Yeah, I think he will, or maybe free agent deadline if he if he sits out, maybe a not free agent deadline, but trade deadline.
Well, I tell you, that might be the best offer that the Texans are going to get, because you'd get a very young quarterback in Tua in exchange for Watson, and then of course Miami would give several draft picks and maybe another key player or something to be named later sent over to the Texans. So that may be a good haul that the Texans may want to entertain, because it doesn't sound like Watson is really going to want to suit up for the Texans. He's so discontent with everything going on there and their management and their hiring decisions and everything else. So if you've got a discontent quarterback that may, pull a John Elway or something and decide, I'm just going to sit unless I get my way.
I'm going to go play baseball.
Best. Huh?
Hey, I'm going to go play baseball. That's literally what he did. He went to go play with the New York Yankees.
Yep.
Yeah. Until your boys decided to make a trade. The Broncos. Stolen from my Colts, buddy. Still not happy about that, Nate.
The Peyton Manning thing.
Huh?
Peyton
No,
Manning-
when Denver when Denver back in like '83 went and made a massive lopsided trade to go get John Elway because John Elway didn't want to suit up for the Colts.
Nope.
Hey,
Strowman,
hey, hey,
ready?
hey. Both quarterbacks that gave us a Super Bowl win were former Colts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and we got stuck with some linebacker that didn't even make the Hall of Fame roster, bud.
That is correct. That is correct.
Yeah, that was a weird trade. But to be honest with you, what else could the Colts have done? Well, maybe trade for somebody else. But
Yeah,
John Elway wanted to leave. He didn't want to play for the Colts.
I know he did, and the Colts weren't exactly the best ran organization, in the league by any means at that point. Just like Eli
Maybe it's the
Manning
entire
didn't want to go
AFC
play
South.
for the Chargers.
Maybe it's the entire AFC South that is being an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, the entire NFC South, the entire NFC South has one Super Bowl appearance. Every single one of those teams have made the Super Bowl in this last decade, and every single AFC South team had a first round number one overall pick in this last decade. So
That is correct. That is correct.
okay, we're kind of getting off topic. We're gonna be talking about one more just brief free agency move. I'm kind of curious what New Orleans is going to do with quarterback. I mean, there's this rumor that they signed Ryan Fitzpatrick, but it's just left to Bridgewater, Jameis Winston, and Taysom Hill. Do you think Taysom Hill is going to be the starter? Or do you think Jameis Winston will be the starter? Go with Ray first.
Well, the thing that came out today was that Sean Payton has given a stiff warning to Jameis Winston. If Jameis Winston cannot do these 30 interception years and stuff like that, like he did in Tampa, and he can control that offense, then he'll be him and Jason, and then Taysom Hill will be going back to his regular off-duty stuff, going back to being like a slot receiver, being a utility type player.
Mm-hmm.
If he does throw, I think he said the rumor that was going around at this time was that James Winston, if he throws 5 interceptions within the first 5 weeks, then he will be taken out of the quarterback position. So I think James Winston is going to start off at the quarterback position.
I like that.
Tyson Hill is going to be back his utility like he was when Drew Brees was behind center. I think, to me, James Winston, I think he needs to go see an eye doctor first because the dude needs contacts. He's squinting. I understand him squinting and all that stuff in college, but he's squinting too much in the pros. And sometimes when he throws the ball, if you watch him really close, if the camera's really up on him, you can see him squint and try to target a receiver. And I think that's what caused him to throw them 30 interceptions. So if he takes himself to go get an eye doctor and gets his contacts in his eyes, I think he'll be a better quarterback.
Now, he did have latex surgery. Entering into last season. So I will say that. But he did start a game. And how many interceptions did he throw that game? I honestly don't remember, but
I think 2 or 3, I think. But then again, you got to understand he just came to New Orleans. He's got to learn the playbook. Drew Brees has been there for 15 years, and he knows that playbook by his eyes shut. James Winston was there last year. He was backing him up and learning the system and stuff like that. But I think this year he's going to have a better repertoire of the offense. They're going to really hound him in on the OTAs and the training camps, coming into the training camps and stuff like that, get him acclimated to that starting role. I think a full training camp with him being a starter and playing starter reps, then I think you'll see in a couple preseason games as they go, you'll see a better Jameis Winston. But the problem with him is he going to get too impatient, or is, like I say, if he doesn't get a good fast start and he gets a slow start, his mind wanders. His mind goes away. He's not intent. But if he gets off to a fast start, then you have a dangerous, weapon back there at quarterback, because he's a dual threat quarterback too. He can run, he can pass. So to that, Jason, Sean Payton's gonna have to remember his offense around what Winston can do good. He's got to find out what Winston can do, what Winston cannot do as a quarterback, and then make plays off what he can do. So you got to get the quarterback confidence. So you're going to start as far as see him coming out with some short passes, get his momentum going, and then he'll see some risk down the field passes on that. And like I said, if he's in the first 5 weeks, he's got a 5 interception ratio in the first 5 weeks, then you might see Taysom Hill come in. But Taysom Hill didn't really impress me at quarterback either. His more dangers on that outside, getting all these mismatch. But, I mean, he really didn't show me nothing at quarterback last year either.
Now, Greg, we're going to have to wrap this up really quick, but I do want to know what your takes are on this before we wrap this up.
I definitely think that Jameis Winston is a better quarterback than Hill. I definitely think that Jameis Winston has a definitely better skill set at quarterback. I think that sitting a year behind Breeze has really kind of lit a fire under Winston. It goes a long ways when you got a guy that was a potential superstar, or definitely a mainstay starter for a franchise, and then they get moved, and then they either go to the bench or they get traded to another team, and then they sit behind that starter. So from a competitive standpoint, most players that are used to starting and used to being the star or one of the stars, and then they end up riding the pine and get the feel of the bench under their rear end. Most of their mentality is they want to get back out there. They want to be the alpha dog. They want to be out there competing and showing what they have. So I think that Jameis Winston is definitely motivated to be the starter. I think that Sean Payton should probably give Jameis Winston the starting spot, because I think that he is a better option for them at quarterback. I do like Taysom Hill. He's one of those guys. He's not a great quarterback. That's the position that he was drafted in, and that's the position that he plays. But he can also run the ball. He can catch the ball. So he can play several different positions and do some other things in that offense to give them a little bit of a kick in the pants when they need it. But I definitely think that Jameis Winston should be their mainstay starter, at least for now. I think that would be their best option. I do like what Taysom Hill brings to the table as far as his athleticism and how he can run and block and tackle and do special teams and all that. But I definitely think that Jameis Winston, like Ray said, if he can get his eyes right, and definitely see what's going on there, because of the squinting and everything. And Nate, you said that he did get laser corrective surgery. So
yeah, latex surgery.
Yeah, I think that'll go a long way. And so I definitely have faith in Jameis Winston. I think that coming out of college, he was a great prospect, and I still have faith that he can be a top-notch quarterback in this league. So I think that he's in a good system. I think that Sean Payton's an excellent coach, and I just hope that he gets a chance to redeem himself, because when he got let go from Tampa and sat out a year and everything, I think that maybe kind of kicked reality into him a little bit, that he needed to improve his game and improve his worth a little bit, and I think that we'll see it this year on the football field.
Okay, so just to wrap this up, if you wanted to check this out on audio, go to Spotify, go to anything that Anchor distribute this out to. Go check out our Anchor stuff. We have one that probably be uploaded after 24 to 48 hours after each episode's over. But also, if you wanted to start your own podcast, just please, you can easily go to Anchor. It's free. You can get paid money out of it. Easy to distribute. Easy to share. It's easy to do. Now, this has been Nate the Great, Greg, and Ray signing out for now.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.